Alright. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction here between the facts. The evidence is right here, in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't have possibly been a mere accident. I'm not reading right. Hang on. Really? Let us show a hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. Is it the fact that we found the bell in the thing? Oh, the wardrobe, sure. The truth is clearly recorded in this photograph. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. That script, it's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people will leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese, in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. It is simple language. He could have picked it very fast. That doesn't seem to be likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There is no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. I'm getting a little teary-eyed, and the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Oh. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't have possibly written anything. Because he was already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't have possibly been there if what Miss Pavlova told us was true. Is it the bell now? What? So Sato-san has noticed it too. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves that there was no accident. In other words... Yeah, it's the bell. Yes! Yes! This piece of broken glass next to him. But that's the glass bell that the kitten had around its neck. We already know about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there is a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up here in this cabin? Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh, no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in this cabin, in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth. In order to cover up his or her own guilt. Sorry, I had to gulp midway. Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asogi's... Huh? You're wasting time! Someone else was there. Of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. And only one person in cabin when young student died. You! Yes! Yes! It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message. To be precise about the details. Shut the fuck up, Holmes. Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the peasant in question wrote that word wardrobe in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep there in the entire time. And then the same peasant picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. But why would this person have taken wouldn't have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. A single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would have barely cast any light on the floor there. Little wonder, then, that the culprit failed to notice a little fragment of the tiny item. You all suspected me, don't you? I'm forgetting my Russianisms. Seaman Stroganov. Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on the ship, a member of the ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. So that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that's not possible. I give my tooth. I give my tooth. Well, this is almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You are a great detective. You should know. Look truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or do you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Niet! It's impossible. He's right. But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie threads around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside. We've already been through this, so that's not the case. Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Steamship, I don't know why I said it like that. Constructed of heavy steel, not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used. No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier. So, hey! Susato-san, how could you shift it onto me like that? So Seaman Stroganov has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind, having been used before. That was weirdly phrased. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside. One way does spring to mind. Yes. Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling size of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt from across outside. Man, listen, we gotta get this through for Kazuma. My voice is weak, my eyes are blurry, for Kazuma. Look at this bookcase here. See how all the books and standing on it toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel, after all. When the engines are thrown into a reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia, acting on the objects. I don't know why I say that so weirdly. Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book, at least? Yeah, that book is a wild... What do you have in that book? I want that book. Whatever it's called, it's the same force that pushed over those books in the bookcase. Also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we haven't bolted the door. But then... Hello? Is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Oh, yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the room. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed, or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed... Oh. I'm glad Karuma wasn't moving. A little lackluster, but I'll take it. The sound design was great. The SS Burya made another emergency stop? When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hands across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh, yes, I remember that, and I also blamed you for it. And I stood them all up again, didn't I? Then, when we came to his cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin. Oh my. Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova?
Are you out of your mind? You say Burya made emergency stop.
It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that have possibly happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room? Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm. Oh, yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there, telling you to only press the button on times of emergency. On dark nights when fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence, the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity.
Wait! It was you!
When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interests of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. Dude, that's a crime. Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. He sounds almost proud of himself.
How dare you mess with ship! I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now.
Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider. Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiots! Boria is a huge ship with many passengers. If you make emergency stop even in the middle of night, there will be chaos everywhere.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea, do we?
Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, the log.
Right. Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency grabbed this vessel last night?
Yeah, I almost forgot. Sorry about that.
Take that!
Yes! Sorry, keep forgetting. Seaman Stroganoff, it's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right?
That is correct. Why?
In the ship's log here, I have a burp coming, excuse me. Excuse me. Is where you record the details of your duties? It's so nice of the game to wait for me.
What are you doing with that? That is mine.
Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop the makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return to you later.
I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always.
But the point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase, "nothing to report," every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until the first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all.
Nothing recorded in the log.
Because nothing happened.
But if nothing happened, you would normally write "nothing to report," would you?
That was a really weird gulp. Indeed so. Which tells us shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Buria. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that ship really make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish!
I rolled my R's. Good job.
If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself.
Oh, why?
Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop has really happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
And that's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine anyone would sleep through that, even if it happened at the dead of night.
Well, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Sorry, are you hitting on me right now? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Oh, yes, I have a headache. You're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, have you? Just as I suspected.
He's right. My head's been throbbing today, too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe, and had those handcuffs put on me at that point. Why didn't I wake up when all of that was happening to me?
Sedatives. Wait, is that the right word? I don't think it is. Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, well, yes. Sorry.
The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on?
Well, Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals.
So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it?
Yes, in fact, I had all of that. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken.
Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all?
That's right, he didn't touch it. Is that relevant?
My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Oh, Mr. Shams, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I do.
No. Really? Is that true?
The meal prepared for the family that night was tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a sulfuric designed to induce a very deep slumber to those who consume it. A sleeping drug?
Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Jones means. What a far-fetched idea.
Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a sulfuric drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator.
What? Mr. Jones?
Well, Seaman? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. Fess up, my boy. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade.
Please, no more. I will tell everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
So when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel.
I don't believe it.
You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night.
Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on the lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Dude, spit it out.
Duh. We could not make all drug, how do you say, dissolve.
Talk about heavy seasoning.
At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat.
While all the passengers of the SS Buria slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion in their evening meals had contained.
So, if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night
were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door. But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case. There would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course! Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins. After which, they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. My lips are so dry, excuse me. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in the cabins for the night. Yeah, it wouldn't make a difference. Yes! The overwhelming majority of the passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. Yeah. It's really cool, actually. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked long and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who desperately tried to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But, I don't know about any of this. I am just little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever idea. Sorry. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. I find it hard to believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. I feel like sailors swap stories every time. A laudable trait. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes? Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt in the wind? What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No. You must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. Oh dear boy, hang on one moment, my throat is dry as fuck. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said, of these two prevaricators. No, I don't know that word. Observation. If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death. What we're looking for is a trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. All right, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. Let's pause it here.